Hey guys, it's me. Post-fight breakdown: Davison Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno. Great night of fights. Here to own my picks as always. Did well on the night for the most part. Wow. I thought this was underrated. I've been talking about it all week on SiriusXM that this was a card that top to bottom was super solid, and we've seen bigger pay-per-views. McGregor versus Cowboy, for example, that did well and got a ton of attention, and the card wasn't that good. This is a really great card from top to bottom. Really solid. Everything was exciting, and it worked out that way in reality. Not only was it, to me, loaded on paper, it was very good in real life. So I think it was kind of under the radar, underappreciated, but a great card. And, of course, a fantastic main event. Let's start at the bottom. Cyril Gane versus Junior Dos Santos. I called Cyril Gane to win this one. Pretty much in the way he did. The one issue that I think is going to bother him moving forward in this division is under attack. He seemed a little shook by Dos Santos, who isn't the fighter he once was, doesn't have the angles and the power he once did, and yet still, whenever he would attack, Cyril Gane just kind of moved straight backward, didn't quite know exactly how to deal with it, a lot of stress when he was under duress, and Dos Santos was aggressive early on in the fight. And once again, this guy is not what he used to be at all in terms of aggression, certainly defense, and yet Gane had problems dealing with that. It only gets worse from here on out. So he's going to have to deal with those hard-hitting heavyweights who are super aggressive, Rosenstrike, Ngannou, guys like that. And he didn't deal well with the aggression of Junior Dos Santos early. Now, the problem is Santos has just been through too many beatings and didn't have the chin or the defense that he once did. If you saw the second Kane fight, the first one Kane won, he put a beating on Dos Santos for 25 minutes, and Dos Santos took all of it, had incredible heart and guts and chin, and that's gone. I'm not saying his heart's gone, he's still got guts, but short elbow from Cyril Gane was kind of the beginning of the end, and Dos Santos turned away from him, and then he unloaded and knocked him out. And Gane, not known for his knockout power, even though he's a big guy, not known for his finishing ability on the feet, knocked out Junior Dos Santos in round two. I think it's Dos Santos' ability to take a shot is just done. It doesn't get better. It gets worse as you go on, and it's been through too many beatings, doesn't have the chin anymore. Does he have to have the talk with Dana White? Probably yes. Heavyweights tend to have a long shelf life. They don't need to be that quick. They don't need to be that athletic. Junior Dos Santos could still fight somewhere or against someone. His days as an elite heavyweight are long gone. So that's going to be the issue. Is look, you're not going to get a title. You're not going to be in contention anytime soon. You're going to be a gatekeeper, which a heavyweight gatekeeper is a tough thing to be. So should he hang him up? Probably. We could call this whole card changing of the guard, really. Which goes on to my next one. The one I got wrong, Kevin Holland versus Jacare. I knew when I picked Jacare that I was maybe being emotional, right? Because I really like Jacare. I was able to train with him early on in his MMA career when he's making the transition from jiu-jitsu to MMA, like 2004-ish. And so, really nice guy. I really like him. I've always loved his style. I think he's probably one of the best fighters to never get a title shot. Not win a title, but one of the best fighters in UFC history to never get the opportunity to win a title in the UFC. And I thought he could have like one more vintage performance and lean on his jiu-jitsu and make it a long night for Kevin Holland. And he got an early takedown, and he made a huge mistake, which is Kevin Holland was going for a triangle. It wasn't going to catch Jacare. It just wasn't cinched up enough. And Jacare's defense is obviously fantastic, multiple-time world champion in jiu-jitsu. And he stayed there. Where a lot of times in jiu-jitsu, and I remember when I called Ben Askren versus Ryan Thomas, their first fight, he got a guillotine, a modified guillotine, and he didn't tap, and the referee stopped the fight, and obviously Ryan Thomas was very much awake. It was just a bad stoppage. And somebody, it may have been the referee, I forget who, said, well, he wasn't trying to get out. And I said, you don't try to get out when someone's going for a submission and it's not working. You let them you stay safe, they burn all this energy trying to get it, and then you get out. Or you wait till they just burn out and let you go. So Jacare felt safe in that position. He was, in triangle position, but was okay. He ate some elbows that should have warned him not to stay there. He ate some elbows that were pretty sharp. But the second time he went for the triangle, or was in triangle position essentially, Jacare didn't move enough. He was kind of content to stay right there and ate a big one. And when he slumped to the right, he slumps up against the fence. He was still upright, but you could tell he lost his balance. And I went, he's out. He's out. I mean, he was upright, but he was out. He was out before, functionally out. He was, still conscious, but, dazed, didn't know where he was before Holland even jumped to his feet and really started landing big punches. That shot from the bottom put Jacare functionally out. I would say out on his feet, but he wasn't on his feet. Out on his knees, whatever. Before then, as soon as he kind of slumped, didn't slump, but as soon as he kind of like shifted to his right, his eyes were just gone. That's incredible power from your back. To be able to do that to, of course, Jacare's been through some beatings, right? But to be able to do that to anybody from that position, that's impressive. So Kevin Holland, 5-0 on the year. That was the biggest name of his career. Sky's the limit for that guy. Candidate for Fighter of the Year, simply based on his momentum. I still think it's Davison Figueiredo, but man, great performance. So the only one I got straight out wrong was that one. Mackenzie Dern over Virna Jandiroba. I picked Mackenzie Dern. And the interesting thing with this is it was a stand-up fight the entire time, which I found, of course, surprising considering how good Mackenzie Dern's jiu-jitsu is. And the timing on her takedown was really bad. Meaning a lot of times when you get in a brawl like that, it's boom, boom, and a nice transition to the takedown. Every time she would single leg, it was kind of this charging, straightforward single leg without a lot of subtlety, without a lot of timing. When she would shoot in didn't make sense considering what was happening. Meaning, if you get your opponent into a brawl and you have better jiu-jitsu or better wrestling, it's mid-combination, use that to change your level and shoot. It was kind of like she would go boom, 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 and just go right for the takedown without waiting for that perfect opening in the middle of these combinations. So she would kind of dive in on the single leg and not get it. And so her takedown was pretty much a non-factor. There were slight exchanges on the ground, and Jandiroba able to get on top a little bit. And it was pretty much a kickboxing match and very, very close fight. But Mackenzie Dern did enough, and those takedowns, even though they didn't work, she was the bully pushing against the fence with the single leg, forcing Jandiroba to defend the takedown. Remember, defending a takedown isn't worth any points. Going for anything is worth points. So Mackenzie Dern did just enough to edge Jandiroba. The problem is that strategy is not going to work against the elite at 115. She cannot stand there and bang with Zhang Weili, with Ioana Jędrzejczyk, with Rose Namajunas. She just can't do that. So it's almost like this whole, I'm going to kickbox and have exciting fights. Great. That's pretty much the last person, and Jandiroba almost won that fight, that you can employ that strategy and have success. You want stay where you're good. Stay where you're world class. Beat them with your jiu-jitsu. You're not going to outstrike anybody above this level that she fought last night. So Mackenzie Dern, good for her. She got a win. She's got to change strategies moving forward. They just hit too hard and they have better combinations. So anyway, good one for Mackenzie Dern. Next one, I called Charles Oliveira over Tony Ferguson. I picked Oliveira. I mean, if you saw my tweets during this fight, I was in awe of Oliveira. That was performance of the night. Yes, we had a great main event. Wonderful. Oliveira smoked Tony Ferguson. Smoked him. Transitions at this level against a guy like Tony Ferguson, who has an excellent ground game, shouldn't be this smooth, shouldn't be this easy. He held mount perfectly, meaning even when Tony Ferguson, there was a time at the end of the first round where Tony Ferguson was like, here, take my arm, get off me, take the arm, so he could beast out and roll out and use his flexibility. Oliveira wasn't having it, wasn't giving up mount, was doing everything right. These little tiny, and I can't, I'm only going to dork out on it so much, but these little tiny things he was doing with his hips that you only see at like world championship level, who hold mount that effectively, who transition that effectively, who get to mount that effectively, who get around guard that effectively. He was doing everything right to the point of absurdity where you're like, he made Tony Ferguson look like a white belt. And Tony Ferguson has a great ground game, and he kept going for that janky side control choke where he's grabbing his own leg, and you're not going to catch Charles Oliveira with that in a million years. This is not going to work. So what I tweeted, what I'm saying now is these things that Tony Ferguson was able to kind of befuddle these other guys with his flexibility and this unorthodox stuff, and Oliveira was having none of it, crushing him with the hips, and was just a superior fighter in every aspect. And that's saying a lot. So that armbar at the end of round one, it breaks 99% of arms. I've never seen an armbar that vicious and that good and that controlled where you didn't get a tap or a break. Never. I've seen guys step over briefly where it's that hyperextend, but it's quick. Boom, and they step out and get out. I've seen that. I've never seen it's just done. Dude has it behind his armpit, hips in, and a dude doesn't break his arm or tap. So, I mean, great for Tony Ferguson. I was like, oh my God, like, that arm's not in good shape. Yes, he's very flexible. Maybe he's okay today, but it was just a masterpiece. It was high-level chess. It was watching Magnus Carlsen play chess and boom, 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 combination checkmate. And you go, nothing you could have done against that. I think Oliveira, the way he fought Saturday, beats anyone in the division if he fights like that. I mean, anybody. Really. I mean, he just beasted Ferguson. And also in those clinch positions, going for the takedown, which is boom. Like, I didn't know he had that. I knew he had, like, really slick ground game, but I didn't know he'd ragdoll Ferguson like that. Sure, Ferguson took a bad beating last time out. Maybe those are after effects of that kind of beating. I know Khabib made a comment about, like, look, he's not the same guy after the Justin Gaethje beating. Nobody can be. Sure, fair enough. But still, Oliveira looked great. You can't take anything away from that guy. Masterful performance. He just became, in my opinion, the big dog at 155. Doesn't have, obviously, the name value of a Conor McGregor, or maybe even a Dustin Poirier, but Jesus, I'm scary. Scary. I'm a jiu-jitsu dork, and I was like, dude, I'm in awe. Like, I can't believe how good he looks. So anyway, great performance by him. Davidson Figueiredo, Brandon Moreno. I called Davidson Figueiredo to win. Ended up being a draw, partly because of the groin shot. I want to address that a little bit. I think it was perfectly acceptable for him to take a point because there had already been an eye poke, eye gouge, and then the nut shot. The problem is and Jason Herzog is a great referee. He's one of my favorites. There's no criteria for that. There's no set rule. So I think he was totally justified in taking it. But people go, he shouldn't have taken a point then. There's no hard and fast rule, unfortunately. It's very, very subjective when somebody loses a point for fouls. It's very subjective. I've seen guys do the same foul 3 or 4 times and not get a point deducted, right? And this was 2 different fouls. So anyway, so I understand people who are critical of it. I thought it was appropriate. It sucks that it changed the outcome of the fight, that without that, Figueiredo wins, and instead we got a draw. I'm honestly happy it was a draw. I think maybe the first time in my whole MMA career that I've been happy to see a draw, because they got to do it again. And other than Cody Garbrandt coming down, I don't see any other challengers. That was a fight of the year candidate. It's number 2 on my list. I still put Weili Zhang. I put Weili Zhang, Yuan, and Jacek ahead of it. But great fight. I'm glad they got to do it again. But speed, versatility, accuracy, volume, heart, guts, determination. We saw everything in this fight. This is why the 125-pound division is so special. Most fighters just can't throw or absorb the number of strikes these guys threw and absorbed. It's not possible. Welterweight, you'd be dead by this point. Like, you can't, they were over 50% with their strikes. They were both in the mid-hundreds. Like, it's like 130, 150. It's nuts. You can't absorb that in any other weight class and, have a brain and walk out of there. So that's what's so great about the 125ers is you can just see a lot of different stuff. And they kept throwing and kept throwing and kept throwing. I thought it was completely fair. I had Davidson Figueiredo ahead by 1 round, which would have been 1 point. He got a point deducted, therefore it's a draw. That's how I saw it as well. So I think the draw itself, totally fair. But Jason Herzog, I think it was fair to take a point. I understand people that say it shouldn't simply because we don't have any real, there's no hard and fast rule about it. There isn't. They can, I've seen worse that didn't get deducted. I've seen less that were deducted. So it's hard. But man, hats off to both guys. Unbelievable performance by Brandon Moreno and Davidson Figueiredo. I think Figueiredo just has a skill set that is so hard to deal with, and Brandon Moreno took it to him. Really took it to him. There were opportunities to win for both guys. Fight of the year, I put it number 2, and incredible main event. So I got everything right, but Jacare, Kevin Holland, and then obviously I picked Figueiredo to win, but we got a draw in the main event. So anyway, I'll be on SiriusXM, as always, 2 to 5 every day. Check it out if you can. I'll try and keep up with this as the week goes along. Have a good one.